Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hi, and welcome back, as always, to Culture Bucket. Happy New Year soon, maybe. It could be 2021 as you're listening to this, because it'll be out on the 31st of December. So if you're really fast, it might still be 2020, but otherwise there's a good shout that it'll be 2021. 2020 is in the rear view mirror. It is now a distant memory. We've forgotten all the events of 2020, but don't worry, George and Alex are here to remind you of the best moments from the year. I'm George, as always, your erstwhile host, and with me is your other host, Alex. Hi.
Hi! Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
if it's
if it's New Year.
if it's New Year.
Yeah. So, bit different this week, yeah?
Yeah.
We're doing a best of 2020 week, celebrating the year that was, as much as 2020 can be celebrated. It was quite the year.
Yeah.
A lot happened.
A lot.
It was
well,
eventful.
Actually, not in my life. Not much happened.
Well, very little happened, but within the small amount that happened, it felt like a lot was happening. It was a weird year. Let's say that.
Absolutely.
2020, what a year. What has happened on this year? 2020, what a year. Let's check out what has happened on this year.
So, we've got some lists for you today. We've got some chat around the year that was and what happened, notable pop culture releases from the year, and maybe a couple of other little bonus bits and pieces as well. It's going to be quite the ride. Let's start where we've never started before, with a timeline of cultural moments through the year. Let's talk through 2020, all the way back to January. Are you ready, Alex?
I'm so ready.
Cool. So I've picked out for you to pass judgment on, or just to say your views on some moments from each month of the year that was.
Okay.
That some of them early on you might have forgotten about, but let's talk about them.
Well, getting ready for this episode this week, I have forgotten so much. It feels like no time has passed since the last time I saw you, which was in January.
Yeah, well, a lot of time has passed.
But a lot of time
Things
has
have
passed.
happened.
Things have happened, but nothing has really changed.
No, lots has changed. It's a lot. Well, let's see. So January. What's your memory of January?
My memory of January.
What was notable?
What was notable in January? I spent the 1st of January with you watching
Yes, please.
films. And one of the films
We
we
watched-
watched was Booksmart.
Booksmart was the first film I watched this year. Letterboxd tells me that.
Yeah, we watched it
yeah.
together, which was really fun. We were all very hangover with friends from different continents, which was fun.
Yeah. Okay, well, the most notable thing that I could find that happened in the world of pop culture was the Grammys
Okay.
occurred last January, wherein Billie Eilish absolutely smashed them to pieces. She won 5 awards, including Best New Artist, Album of the Year, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year. And I think her brother Phineas also won a Producing Award. She dominated them. There was famous photos of her holding Grammys and looking all happy, and she's continued to kind of dominate pop culture since those wins. Were you happy to see her succeed big at the Grammys?
I'm not one that really cares about stuff like that. So I don't, I guess I was happy for her, but it's not something that was imprinted in my head. And I completely had forgotten that she won so many Grammys.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a bit of a... The Grammys are weird. Like the Oscars, I follow the Oscars and have an idea of what's going on with them. But the Grammys just seem completely
I didn't follow
random.
those.
Like in terms of she won Record of the Year and Song of the Year. I don't understand the difference between those two things.
Well, record is the album, isn't it?
No, because she won album of the year as well. Record is like also a song. It's like a different. I don't understand. I don't understand. I sound like an idiot to somebody right now. Somebody who understands music, but I don't know what the distinction is. But she won both.
Huh. I have no idea
No,
what
I
that
don't know.
difference is. But yeah, good for her. She deserves it. But I don't really care.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just nice to see when I don't know. They don't matter until they do matter. I feel like awards, like, and we'll talk about that in February as well. Because oh boy, did they matter in February. So let's move on to February. One of the most notable events of February was the Super Bowl halftime show. Can you remember who headlined the Super Bowl halftime show in the year 2020, Alex?
No.
It was the absolute powerhouses that were J-Lo and Shakira.
Did they? Have I
They did.
completely erased this year from my head? I had no idea they did the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and normally the people who do the Super Bowl halftime show the next day, all of the like websites and stuff like, oh, they were pretty rubbish. People loved J-Lo and Shakira at the Super Bowl this year, and for good reason. They were great. That I think that's on YouTube. I would recommend anyone go and search it out and have a watch of it because both of those women are incredible performers.
Wow. I usually know who does the Super Bowl halftime, but this year, no.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Don't understand American football. Not sure what it is. Don't know anything about it. Don't really know
No.
what the Super Bowl is. Don't know why they need a halftime show, but I certainly know who does it each year.
Yeah. Who was the year before?
Oh, it was like Travis Scott and Maroon 5, maybe something like that.
Oh goodness, maybe I don't follow them that much then.
Katy Perry did it a few years ago, and there was a shark that people liked. Anyway,
Fantastic.
the other big event in February was the Oscars, which this year were notable for the first time ever, an international film winning Best Picture. A film in a foreign language won Best Picture. That film, Alex, was
Parasite. I know that.
Parasite. Yeah, it took home. I think it took home 4 awards. It won Best Film, Best International Film, or Best Picture, Best
Yeah.
International Film, and Best Director and Best Original Screenplay.
Do you think it's fair that it won Best Picture and Best International Picture? Should they have not left like Best International Picture to somebody else? Just to be fair.
Well, I mean, it's not the way that the award works in a way, and you know, it's just never like the awards weren't set up for the same film to win both of those. Like they didn't really think that would happen, and it probably won't happen again for a long time. So
Okay.
I think for it to happen this year just shows the strength of how good that film is, and I think it's acceptable.
Yeah.
If it started happening every year, it'd be insane, but it's not going to happen every year.
Hmm.
So that was February. We had the Oscars, we had the Super Bowl halftime show. The world was looking fine. There was some news coming out of China that was a bit worrying, but mostly things were okay. Then March struck, lockdown arrived, the world changed.
Yes.
2020 truly started in March, I think.
Yeah.
And there was
The
only 2
unthinkable
words.
happened.
The unthinkable happened. There were only 2 words on everyone's lips in March, and they weren't lockdown, they weren't coronavirus, they weren't quarantine, they were Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin. Yes.
Carol Baskin, Joe Exotic, Tiger King.
Yeah.
They couldn't have prepared a better month in which to launch that documentary
Definitely.
than the point at which everyone in the world suddenly had to stay at home and watch Netflix. All anyone did in March was watch Tiger King and then just be in pure shock that people like that exist in the world. Did you watch all of Tiger King?
Yeah, I did. It's shocking.
Oh my word!
That those are real people.
Yeah, it really is.
Like really.
And then
shocking.
immediately, again, because nobody had anything to do, they announced like 5 different TV shows based on it immediately. Like Nicolas Cage is playing Joe Exotic in one of them. I imagine by the time all those come out, the general mood will be we're bored now of Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin.
Well, you never
who knows?
know. They're talking about a third wave, so.
Oh, good lord. Yeah. Well, yeah. So that happened, and then also in March, not fun, exciting. Well, not fun, happy news, but notable. That was the month in which Harvey Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison for
Mm-hmm.
many counts of sexual assault.
What a good moment.
Awful, man.
Yeah.
And March was also the month that big films started getting delayed. I think it was Quiet Place 2 was one of the first big ones that kind of got pushed.
Yeah.
And then the next Fast and Furious movie got delayed by a year very quickly. And I remember thinking, why have they pushed it back a year? That's ridiculous. No, it wasn't. It was a completely sensible decision
Yeah.
for the least sensible franchise of all time. And yeah, so that was when the world started changing a lot. April, the only event I could find for April was that, similar to Tiger King in March, in April, all of a sudden, the only thing people were talking about, the two words on everybody's lips, stopped being Carol Baskin and Tiger King and Joe Exotic, and started being basketball and Michael Jordan, because The Last Dance hit Netflix. Did you watch The Last Dance?
No, you told me to watch it, and I still haven't watched it. Sorry.
Well, that's it. I don't like sports at all, and I didn't watch all of The Last Dance because that would be silly, because I don't like sports. But I watched like 5 episodes of it and thought it was really good, and that's pretty notable for a sports documentary to even get me involved. So yeah, everyone in the world seems to be watching The Last Dance in April again, because we had nothing else to do. May, we moved into May, and the world welcomed a brand new baby whose name I can't tell you because I can't pronounce it. Elon Musk and Grimes presented their child to the world in May, which seems like yesterday.
I know. I can't believe you said May. It's December.
Unless the websites I was researching this on were lying to me, it was apparently May in which that baby was born.
What was his name?
It's called XAE12 or something. I don't know what it's called. It's got a strange name.
Clack.
Yeah, it's not right, is it, to make fun of a baby? But then
we're not making fun of a baby. We're making fun of his
No,
parents.
I know. I'm not having a go at you, but I just mean, it's just why would you? I don't know. Anyway.
Well, maybe one day.
Anyway, that
you know when people were like moaning about Gwyneth Paltrow calling her daughter Apple. Now nobody really cares. So maybe everybody will give names
what?
like
So
that
you think
soon.
in like 15, 20 years, everyone will be naming their children after jet fighters and weapons or something? No, you're right. That was May.
Yeah.
That was May. That was the big event in May. June was a bit political. The big events in June. June was the kind of the peak of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
George Floyd was murdered in March, and then it kind of reached a fever pitch
March.
In June. I think June might have been when they renamed that plaza in Washington DC. They renamed it the Black Lives Matter Plaza, and it also sort of coincided with, in June, the release of The Five Bloods on Netflix.
Yeah. Great.
A very obvious. I still shamefully haven't seen it, but you loved it, didn't you?
Yeah. My first film with Chadwick Boseman I've watched.
Well, yeah, and now it's kind of notable for sadly being one of his final roles.
Yeah.
Obviously, we went on to lose him, but that was June.
Yeah, you know another film that came out in June.
Oh, go on.
That was pretty an incredible film.
Yeah. What?
Eurovision Song Contest. The Story of Fire Saga.
So July, the big event in July
you enjoyed,
that everyone was talking about. The 2 words on everybody's lips were Hamilton. Hamilton. That was July. Hamilton hit Disney Plus. Everyone who wasn't able to be in New York in 2016 was able to suddenly experience the Broadway play that had swept the world. It was a pretty big deal. People loved it. I loved it. That was a big event in July.
Not for me.
Yeah. And the other big event in July was something that is for you, out of nowhere, Alex.
Your birthday.
What?
Your birthday.
No, my birthday is not in July.
Actually, no, it's not. It's in August. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Sorry, George.
No, it's fine. I get mistaken for a different person at work every day, so I'm used to it. In July, of note to you, was out of nowhere, suddenly, who should announce that they're releasing an album that night at midnight but Taylor Swift?
Yes, baby.
And to make me beyond excited, she announces not only is she releasing an album at midnight, but most of the songs in the album have been co-written by the guitarist from The National, Aaron Dessner, my favourite or second favourite band. Oh my word, I was excited, and with good reason. It became quite quickly one of the best reviewed albums of the year, and suddenly, somehow, Aaron Dessner, the guitarist from The National, became incredibly famous and presumably exceptionally rich.
Yeah.
So well done to him.
Yeah.
You liked that, right?
Yes, very much. Yeah, we talked about it. I love folklore.
We did. We talked about it on the podcast because
Yeah.
our podcast was recording by this point, which was exciting.
We already started.
Yeah. Then we come to August. August,
Mm-hmm.
sadly, other than my birthday, the big event in August was the passing of Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Which rocked. I haven't really prepared a big list of celebrity deaths to talk about this year, but we can take this moment now to kind of remember all the people that have entertained us and have passed on this year. The list is certainly long, and everyone is equally notable and important, but certainly the lasting impression of the year seems to have been Chadwick Boseman, due to the power of his performances and how young he was, and everything combined together. It's an absolutely gutting loss to the world.
Definitely.
Yeah. Seems almost what's the word, disrespectful to mention the other notable pop culture event from August, but it needs to be mentioned because it did set the world on fire. Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion launched WAP into the world and just destroyed minds everywhere with one of the most intense songs I've ever heard.
And the most catchy song ever.
It's exceptionally catchy, and then it's got like the music video is not obscene. I don't want to say obscene, but the music video is pretty wild. But they changed the lyrics in the music video to be less obscene, and it's like, well, look at what's happening in the video. Well, let's not get into a big debate about WAP. It is a catchy song. It's probably a good song. It definitely upset its fair share of people.
Definitely. But they can get a bucket and a mop and.
Yeah. Yeah. Pitchfork, our favourite website, named it Song of the Year.
Well, I get it. I get it.
I know. I'm not saying it's a bad decision. It's just that's why it's worth mentioning now, because it's certainly not my favourite song of the year, but it definitely defined a part of the year in a way.
Yeah.
Anyway, we come to September, more recent times now. Big event in September. Disney took the risk of putting Mulan on Disney Plus in a strange premiere access fashion, where you had to pay £20 or $20 to watch it in an experiment that is unclear how successful it was, but it seems like it wasn't particularly successful. That happened, and also Schitt's Creek won crazy big at the Emmys. It won like 9 Emmys or something, more than most other comedies, which shocked me. But have you ever watched Schitt's Creek?
No. But you recommended it to me, so I should really have a.
I really like it, and I keep recommending it to people, and they keep going, I watched like 2 episodes of it and thought it was terrible. I'm like, but it's good. Please watch more. Anyway.
Yeah.
That was September. Then October, there were only 3 words on everybody's lips in October. When Netflix released a show that somehow, unbelievably, I've still not watched it, but somehow became like the biggest thing they'd ever released, like had the most viewers they'd ever had for anything. And it was The Queen's Gambit.
Okay.
Have you watched any of that yet, Alex?
No.
No, because it's about chess. But apparently it's really good.
Okay. I keep seeing it's so popular that it keeps popping up. And I just have no interest in watching it. I just don't care. It just looks boring.
I'm very similar. The only thing that makes me want to watch it is that Anya Taylor-Joy is the star, and I adore her.
I guess, but
she's in The Witch and stuff. But
I just keep just go away, but it's constantly there. It's just
but you'd have watched it
I'm reminded at least once a day that of
Bet
that.
you'd watch it if Florence Pugh was in it.
Absolutely, I watch anything with Lawrence. For Lawrence.
Which is why I will watch The Queen's Gambit at some point, because
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy is great, but not today.
Mm.
The other thing was, possibly in September, this started getting rumoured, but it sort of came out of nowhere in October. Amazon premiere a new Borat movie out of nowhere.
Yeah. Very
Borat's
nice.
subsequent movie film arrives. It's very nice and extremely woo-wah wee-wah. And
Wee-wah, wee-wah. Sorry.
woo-wah wee-wah, very nice. Oh, my daughter. And you know, the scene with Rudy Giuliani immediately sends the world into a spiral of some kind.
Yeah, but he's
correctly
still
so, because
out.
it's disturbing.
He's still like he's still doing some weird
Yeah, he's
stuff.
still out. I had to turn, because he got COVID like last week, which
Yeah.
is not a good thing for anyone.
No.
I wasn't pleased about that. But then it was awful. I don't use Twitter at all, but somehow Twitter notifications, as part of doing Twitter for this podcast,
Yeah.
Twitter notifications started popping up on my screen. And then one day I looked at my phone, I just had a tweet on my phone screen in the notifications that said Rudy Giuliani is dead. And I was like, what? Oh my God. And I logged in, and it was just like a troll post that had somehow, the algorithm from Twitter had decided to send it out to people as a notification. And I was like, right, I'm turning off Twitter notifications now, because that is the most disturbing fake news, that is just on my phone screen without my... 2020 is a weird year.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Borat subsequent movie film was interesting. November, pretty much one thing to talk about in November. Only one big event occurred in November. All of the world were obsessed with it. Right-wing conservative Americans were furious about what was going on.
Yeah.
But it needs to be discussed, even on this Pop Culture magazine. I am, of course, talking about Harry Styles on the cover of Vogue. Oh my word! What an incredible photo!
Like the fact that people were so disturbed by that photo amazes me.
I know that people were upset.
I saw the photo. I was like, "Oh, that's nice," and that was my
he
thought.
looks good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what that was thought. That's a nice photo. Great. And then, like, the internet, the world melted after that.
Well, because we need to
Just-
bring back manly men, Alex.
What?
How is Harry Styles going to protect his brood when a woolly mammoth comes to the cave? What's he going to do in a dress? Nothing. Pathetic.
I just find it's just ridiculous.
How is he gonna? How do you tangle with a saber-toothed tiger in a dress? It can't be done.
Why do people care? And that's what bothers me. Like, there's so many things that people could care about: climate change, poverty, wars. No, I care for Harry Styles' dress.
As far as hills to die on go, it is an odd one to pick for sure. But some people picked it.
But it was
yeah.
crazy. The backlash was insane.
Yeah, good for Harry Styles for doing it, but also it's not like I don't know. I don't want to be like very brave of him. It's like no, it should just be fine. He shouldn't have to. It's ridiculous. Anyway, also in November, worth mentioning, I suppose, is Donald Trump lost the election in America. He will no longer be the president of America.
And it was
Joe Biden.
confirmed.
It is finally being confirmed. He has the electoral votes. Joe Biden will be the next president of America, and Kamala Harris will be the first woman, the first African American, and the first Asian American vice president ever.
Yes.
I don't know how you feel about the world and things. If you're listening to this, if you've listened to all of our episodes and that's the kind of event that upsets you, I'm not quite sure why you're still listening. But otherwise, I thought that was broadly positive.
Yeah.
People might have issues with Joe Biden's politics and stuff, but broadly speaking, I'd rather that than Trump. And let's not too much more politics. Beyond that, obviously, we need to mention that Kanye West also, like, as the American election was happening, Kanye West kind of stood outside and ran around with a big sign saying, "Look at me," and a few people looked at him, and that's about as much time as we need to give to that.
He did get some
Absolutely
votes,
ludicrous
though.
man.
He
did. He
votes.
got like 60,000 votes, I think, which in the grand scheme of things, amongst hundreds of millions of people in America, is an exceptionally small number.
Yeah.
It's about as many, like, I don't know, comparatively, it's about as many as some ludicrous people over here in the UK get in general elections. It's a small enough number that we can broadly just ignore it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still 60,000 people that voted Kanye West, though. So.
I know, but like
And they're out.
there's like 65 million people that voted for Donald Trump, so that's not.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, December.
December.
Please don't adjust your podcast. You've not accidentally rewound it 5 minutes. This is still accurate. Big announcement in December, out of nowhere. What's happening? Someone's releasing an album at midnight. It's Taylor Swift. Somehow.
Again.
She has a second album out of nowhere. This time, co-written by Aaron Dessner from The National, and he's brought along his friends because they're all over it as well. The whole National crew are here. There's a song with Matt Berninger singing.
Yeah.
What? How did she do it? It's ridiculous. Evermore, the second Taylor Swift album of the year, once again co-written by a few members of The National, has just turned up to destroy me. Like a week, like 5 days ago, this happened as we're recording, and it is ridiculous that happened. Yeah. Also, and things that happened. Warner Brothers upset all of the directors that they employ by announcing that all of their films in 2021 will debut on HBO Max at the same time as cinemas in America. And
I did not know that.
Yeah, so James Gunn, who's made The Suicide Squad that's due out next year, Denis Villeneuve, who's made Dune that's due out next year, a bunch of other directors have all suddenly found out that their films are going to premiere on a streaming service at the same time they're in cinema, which has upset them.
I guess you want people to see your film in a cinema.
Yeah, and they want to support the cinema industry because the cinema industry kind of is quite symbiotic with the film industry, and on a more cynical note, a lot of those directors have got contracts with Warner Brothers that guarantee them a percentage of box office results. So by cannibalizing the audience and putting it on a streaming service, they will get less. There will be a smaller box office as a result. Of course, you could argue there's going to be a small box office anyway because of the world, but the Warner Brothers have come up with a way to allow the directors to have money from the streaming debut, and apparently the new system they're going to do to compensate people for in place of box office revenue is not adequate, according to some directors or something. So it's a complex thing. There's a lot of business behind it and other things that have upset people, and it's just pretty intense and worth noting. Bob Dylan sold his entire song catalogue. Did you hear about this?
No. Wow.
He sold his entire song catalogue. How much money do you think he sold it for? All of the songs he has ever written.
Is it like a crazy big amount or a crazy small amount?
I don't know. You tell me.
No, you tell me.
No, I will not. You tell me, and then I'll tell you.
Well, being Bob Dylan, probably like a really small amount. I don't know. How much?
Hit me with a number. Oh, it's
like $100.
No, $300 million.
Great.
Yes. Thanks for your support. Last on the list.
I don't know. Like $300 million is not a big amount or a small amount. It's just its amount, isn't it?
It's quite a large amount
for the entire song catalogue. Is not that much actually. Like he has done a lot of music.
I guess Disney paid George Lucas $4 billion for Star Wars.
Yeah, so I guess this is not a very big amount. $4 billion.
It's a not very big amount.
Jeez.
That didn't happen this year. We can't talk about it.
What the? $4 billion?
Yeah, and they've made that back they made that back pretty quickly.
When did billions? Like billion? It feels like 2019, 2020. Like the year of billions. Billions just decided to become things. Whoever paid with billions? $4 billion? Like
it's like the GDP of a small country.
Yeah, like George Lucas just went, $4 billion. That seems like a good amount. That's extortionate.
What are you talking to Disney? They've got what?
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, I know you're right. I'm just saying, like, how? Nah.
I can't explain why I know this, but I know that between 2017 and 2019, the total worldwide revenue for films produced by Walt Disney Studios was $30 billion. And that's just across the span of like 3 years. So, yeah. Okay. The last one on the list is happened, I think, last week or the week before. Elliot Page announced that he is transgender.
Yes. How cool is that?
Yes. It's pretty cool. It's pretty good for that for the transgender community. More voices to support them. He's a
Yeah.
pretty amazing guy, and yeah, it's awesome. Just great. More Elliot Page in the future, please. So that is the year that was.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful in part. It was horrifying in part,
Yeah.
but broadly,
It's
broadly
okay.
it was awful. But like,
Well,
there was like good pop culture in there to talk about.
yeah.
And this podcast started in 2020, so it
I
can't be
know.
bad.
So I think it's good. We started in 2020. We kept in contact in 2020.
2020 vision, baby. So
know?
moving on. Let's talk about lists. Let's talk about some specific things from this year that we enjoyed.
Yes.
How are you feeling? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Like, yeah, we've talked about it.
Now-
You have lists. I talk about things. Done.
Yeah, because we're
Bish,
different
bash,
people
boom.
and we approach things differently, but it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have no memory and you have lots of memory. So,
Yes, I've got an SSD and you've got a floppy disk.
it's actually true.
You've got a floppy disk with 15 kilobytes of memory on it.
Yeah. I can only maintain a small amount of stuff in my head, and then the rest is just blah.
But at some point, somebody's put a sick Metallica sticker on it, so it's cooler. So, let's talk albums. This was a year of albums.
This is definitely the year of albums.
For certain.
Yeah.
For sure.
What?
So, what do you want me to go through my list and you can tell me the ones you've listened to, what you think about them, and then you can say what your favourite is, or do you want to start?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
I gave you two options then, and you've just said yes. Which one?
Say them again.
Do you do you want me to go through my list and you can say what you think of them as we go if you've listened to them, and then you can say what your favourites are overall, or do you want to start?
Oh, no. You definitely start. Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't hear the second question. I only heard the first bit. It's like, yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right, so
yeah. Have you got months as well of your artists? Because I haven't got months, but I can find them.
months. What do you mean months?
Month when they were released.
No, God, no. That's in the past now. We're not talking about months anymore. We're talking about
Oh.
2020 as a whole.
Thanktastic.
Fantastic. So, my
Go.
number 10 album of the year.
Oh, you've
is-
done a proper list.
Yeah.
Great.
Good. My number 10 album of the year is this. Then this is there's going to be like a handful of points in this episode where the fact that we've recorded the first episode of next year is going to be odd, but it's fine.
Yeah.
You see
it's
what I
fine.
mean?
Yeah.
It's
definitely.
broadly fine. You'll hear us talking about some of this stuff again in the future because we talked about it last week, but it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Miley Cyrus, Plastic Hearts in at number 10.
I've put Plastic Hearts as well in my list.
Yeah, it made a big impression pretty quickly, right? Because it was an early December release.
It's just beautiful.
It's a
really
party.
good album. It's incredible.
It's an absolute banger,
Loved it.
but not bangers because that was a different. Miley
Bangers
Cyrus
was
album.
amazing. I don't think. Well, no, I think I enjoyed Bangers at the time because it was Bangers, but I think Miley Cyrus Plastic Heart is amazing. And in fact,
I think it's the best work.
first one I put in my list.
Really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
I
it was in
can't
at
stop
it's in at
singing
number
in my
10 for me.
head, Midnight Sky.
Oh, yeah, Midnight Sky.
la.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Prisoner. Ba, ba, da, ba, da, ba. Anyway, great album, Plastic Hearts. Give it a listen. Don't if you're the kind of person who's a bit sniffy about pop music, then just go home and give it a try. In at number
What's your
9
favorite song? What's your favorite song in Plastic Heart?
on the album,
Yeah.
it's difficult in a way. In a way, it's the cover of Zombie
Oh, yes. Yeah.
because it's great.
Yeah.
In
made me
another
cry.
way, it's it might be the first track, WTF Do I Know? I love it. All right.
Yeah.
Number 9 is an
Mhm.
album that I tried to get you to like, and I don't think I succeeded. but I adore this album in a way that I never thought I would. I didn't think that this band would ever be on my top 10 of anything other than top 10 most overplayed artists. It is Imploding the Mirage by The Killers. You're shaking your head. You just don't get it.
No, I just don't get that album. Yeah, I completely forgot about that album. You
Yeah.
just reminded me now. It was so, for me, uneventful. And I'm sorry, The Killers, you are great. It's just Britain has ruined you.
Well, we do love them. But I just love this album. It's like Bruce Springsteen has turned up at the door of a Las Vegas indie band and just given them a big bag of tricks and told them to use them. I didn't plan that analogy out in advance. And completely lost faith in it.
Great.
But there you have it.
Yeah.
It's a good album. It's a good album. We'll be talking about a song off it again in a few minutes, but I love that album. Next, in at number 8 is an album that I sort of wasn't sure about putting on my list because it came out quite early in the year, and I listened to it a lot then, and then I sort of forgot about it. And then when I was making my list, I put it on, and I was just like, no, this album is incredible. Recently, very publicly snubbed by the Grammys, it is The Weeknd's album After Hours.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's an okay album. No, I feel like half of it is perfect. Like half of it is incredible. And then half of it, like the first half is, I think the first half is dull. Was it the second half?
I know, I love the first half. I love all of it.
One of the halves, because I haven't listened to it since when you told me to listen to it. And like one half is amazing and the other half is just, oh, shut up, The Weeknd.
I can see that a little bit, but I don't know. I just like I put it on when I'm working and stuff, and just the vibe of the album I like the synth wavy-ness of it, the synth pop.
That part of the album is good. Is there other part of the album without the synthy things? Like the Blinded by the Lights is, I think, probably song of the year.
It's it's such a song. Because Heartless and Blinding Lights are the two songs on the album that kill me.
Yeah, no, that song is amazing. So, yeah, but album also great for me.
That's fair. I wasn't sure about putting it on my list, but I just really like it. So yeah. Then in at number 7, an album again that you'll hear us talking about in more detail next week or next time you hear us. Clipping. Visions of Bodies Being Burned.
Great album.
A great, weird horrorcore album. I'm so happy that you like it because it's not in your usual wheelhouse, but it's just great.
And when you listen to Alex from the future, I sound like a real old lady. Oh, clippings! I love clippings. You know, when old people say things wrongly.
Like how my gran used to call Only Fools and Horses Del Boy. But Del Boy's on.
Yeah.
It's a great album. It's a great hip hop album. I think Alex can attest to the fact that it doesn't matter so much that it's a horror themed album. Like it's just like, and I think you've kind of proven my point that I made, or what I was talking about when I first talked about them, in terms of like they're often called an experimental hip hop group because they don't use traditional samples necessarily, but I think they do make, and this isn't a criticism, they do make traditional hip hop almost. Like, it's enjoyable by anyone. Like the fact that it's all called experimental shouldn't put you off. Give it a go. It's so accessible and so good.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree, and I think it's really good hip hop as well. It's really, really good. And it's horror, but I don't feel like it's defined by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's defined. It's just fun. It's just a fun
good.
album.
It's a good album. Yeah,
it's different. Number 6.
Yeah.
Pushing towards top 5 now. In at number 6 is an album that is just wonderful. I love this album, and I'm pretty sure you do as well.
Yeah.
It is Women in Music Part 3 by Haim.
Absolutely. That's on my list too. Of course.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
That album is amazing. It's
It
really,
is the
really good.
best. It is the best thing that they have ever done. Like
Yeah.
I liked their first two albums, but
Yeah.
they are nothing
It's so
compared
good.
to Women in Music Part 3. It is just an absolute beast of an album.
Are you right, you George?
Yeah, I thought I heard a noise behind me, but no, I think I'm okay.
But isn't your door moving?
Is it?
Yeah, it opened.
Which door?
Your brown door.
Did it?
Yeah.
No, it didn't. You're being
It
silly.
did.
Because we're talking about clipping. Hang on.
Now George is looking, but nobody was behind the door. I was just joshing him, and now he hasn't come back. Or actually, the door did not move. But
Oh, you absolute piece.
but when you opened the door and you jumped, that scared me. So I was trying to scare you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haim, Women in Music Part 3.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's got country. It's got like hip hop in there. The song 3 a.m. is, oh my. Have you seen them doing 3 a.m. live on, I think it's like Seth Meyers or something?
No, I haven't actually.
It's so good, and it's got Robert Pattinson is in it at the start as the voice
Ooh.
message, doing the voice message that's on the album. It's cool. It's a really cool. Yeah, again, look that up and have a look at it. But yeah, Haim, Women in Music Part 3 is cool.
Nice.
I don't know what happened to Women in Music Part 1 and 2, but Part 3 is pretty great.
Part 3 is amazing.
Up next is again another album that will be on your list for certain.
Yep.
We are into RTJ4, Run the Jewels.
Yeah. Oh, on Spotify, Yankee and the Brain was my most listened song of 2020.
Back at it like a crack addict with it. Back at it.
It just gives me like energy. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, Russell, I love it. Yeah.
It's a good album again. Like, I was so happy because I loved Run the Jewels 2. That's like one of my favourite albums ever. And then I liked Run the Jewels 3, but I wasn't destroyed by it. I did like it, but it didn't. But then Run the Jewels 4, I think they really. And again, it's one of those things where, especially when it came out, it was so relevant, and it just goes and goes and goes, and it doesn't slow down until it finishes. And I appreciate that they are always like at full energy. They're so good.
Yeah, I've been listening to them a bit too much. Like my 2020 Spotify was basically pink because their album cover is pink, and it was just all like your most listened album, your most listened song, your most it's just everything. Yeah,
it's a good album cover. That's my desktop background on my computer.
It's a good album. It's a very good album.
It's a very good album.
I could listen to it anytime.
But there are 4 or 5 albums that are better.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion. Not really better, like let's not denigrate, but just albums I liked. In at number 4, and this might come as a shock, but I had to do this even though I love them. It is the newest album by my favourite band, Idols, Ultramono.
Yeah.
I love it. I do adore this album. I listened to it so much when it came out. And it is a powerful beast of an album.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there's 3 albums this year that I feel are somehow more important or have had more of an impact on me in this year. So they're not. Idols is not my number 1 album of the year, but it is.
Okay.
It is a crazy good album. It was shocked you, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But anything can happen in 2020.
But you liked the album.
I loved Ultramono. In fact, it's on my list.
Yes,
I
please.
really liked Ultramono. Yeah, it's a good album.
I think, and the point where we diverge is for me. It definitely their last album, Joys and Natural Resistance, like that would have been the number 1 for me of that year.
Yeah,
and Ultramono isn't quite up there with that, but it is still an incredible piece of work. And I can't wait to see what they do next. Genuinely, I think they're going to be quite different next time they do an album. So we'll see. And then in at number 3 is an odd one, and we can talk a bit about this. I've had to put 2 albums in at number 3.
Ooh, so it's a top 11.
In a way, but also it's one album in a way that's just been released over 2 releases. Yeah, because I can't separate them. There's no way to separate them for me. Why are you shaking your head at me?
I don't know. I'm worried that it might be the one that. Okay, no, I don't know. Yeah,
It is Folklore and Evermore
okay.
by Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Why are you going,
Oh, just because I love folklore.
Yeah, I
I do
love Folklore.
not get Evermore.
It's the same, Alex.
It is not the same at all. It is not the same. I don't think it's the same. Like I've
Really? So
listened to
you
it.
don't
Yeah,
like Evermore?
I don't get it. I feel it's very personal to her, and I feel it's so personal that I don't get the songs. So I can't. I don't. I didn't enjoy it. I was really like
Oh, I don't think it's
it.
personal to her at all.
I
It's more storytelling. Like that song with Haim on it is like a story. Like I feel like there's a lot of stories on that.
the only songs I liked are the ones where she duets with somebody else. So the Haim song is amazing. The one with the National is my favorite song. I think that song is perfect. The one with Bon Iver is really good, but the songs where she's
Oh
by
yeah, yeah.
herself, I find them really flat and samey. And I was really sad because I was so like that's as soon as I woke up, I put it on, and I just didn't enjoy it.
Wow, I'm really
Yeah,
surprised.
me
For me,
too.
for me, it's indistinguishable from Folklore. Like
No,
that's a really
folklore is
personal album.
amazing. But
I know
folklore is
Folklore's
amazing.
amazing.
Or maybe this is not personal enough. I don't know. Maybe that's the problem. I just feel like I don't understand this album. I don't understand the stories.
Yeah, fair enough. How much have you listened to it out of
All
interest?
of it. I listened to it about 4 times. All of it.
Wow.
Because I really want to like it, and I'm going to listen to it more because I love folklore and I want to like this one. But I just don't. I don't get it. Maybe I'm not. I haven't got my brain doesn't do metaphors or stuff like that. You know.
But it's the same style of song as on Folklore. That's what I don't understand.
Listen to folklore again. It's not.
I have
It's
listened
very.
I did listen to Folklore again.
I think this is very samey. All the songs are very same. Like folklore has some like better songs. In my opinion, I still love
Yeah,
and
fair enough.
respect her, and I'm not gonna go Taylor Swift. Like I think it's amazing, but I haven't enjoyed her second album this year, which is fine. I
Wow.
still love her.
Yeah, no, that is fine. You're allowed to not enjoy it.
Yeah.
But for me personally, they're both of equal. But I can't decide. Like I didn't want to put them both on the list in separate points. And then I love them both, so they're both in there at number 3 for me. Yeah,
Cool.
I love them. I love the Haim song on Evermore.
Oh, that's
is my
a
favorite.
beautiful song.
It's a cool song.
But my favorite is the one with the National, which is called
Coney Island.
Yeah, that's I like.
See, even though I love the National, that song hasn't made much of an impression on me yet.
Oh, that's the only one that I really really like because I really like his voice. Their voice together works really well.
In at number 2 for me is a big album, important album that I really love. It is Fetch the Bolt Cutters by Fiona Apple.
Ah, have
you listened to this album?
No, I haven't.
I
should.
It's incredible. It's unlike any album I've ever heard. Pitchfork gave it 10 out of 10, which is rare for them. We've discussed them in the past, though. But yeah, the last album they gave 10 out of 10 to was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy a decade ago. So it's fairly notable when they dole out a 10.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it is great. It is. She made it all in her house, even though she made it before lockdown. It wasn't a lockdown album, but she made it entirely at home. It has like interesting percussion on it. She samples her dogs on it. The lyrics are like nothing I've ever heard. I'll talk a little bit more about the lyrics later for one song in particular. But basically, it's an incredible piece of work, and it's made me a fan of Fiona Apple, who I'd never previously listened to. Like I've gone back and listened to some of her older stuff, and it's equally wonderful. But something about Fetch the Bolt Cutters, even like the cover to it, she made it herself, and you can tell it's homemade because it's like cut out pieces of paper and a picture of her dog and stuff. Like it kind of looks like somebody's homework, but in a wonderful way.
When I saw it on Instagram, I was like, "Oh, George made a picture."
No, it was her. And it's just I love that about it, and I love that about her. Number
Cool.
one though has been set in stone since it came out. There was no other album that was going to be my number one for this year. It is.
Oh, just a
It
moment.
is.
Can I guess it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because I
It's
think I've
incredible.
got it too, probably.
I think you probably know what it is.
Yeah,
I've listened to it so much.
it's Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers.
It is indeed Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers, one
Of
of
course.
the best albums I've ever heard in my life.
Mm,
Some of the songs on this album give me goosebumps
yeah.
every time I listen to them, and I just completely,
Mm,
impossibly adore her. Everything she does, everything she touches and goes near. I
yeah.
can't get over my deep, deep, deep obsession with her and her music. I think she is simply one of the most incredible things in the world. I adore
Amazing.
her. Yeah, you like this album, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why I've been listening more to the Taylor Swift's album, because when I first listened to Punisher, I didn't really enjoy it as much as
Hmm.
Stranger in the Alps, which is Phoebe Bridges' previous album.
Yeah.
But then it kind of grown on me, and I really, really love it now. So I feel maybe I'm a bit judgmental when it comes to kind of if I really enjoy an album before, and the second one I've got like really high expectations, and then maybe
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah. So yeah, but I love this album. I didn't really like it at the beginning, but now I a couple of weeks ago I listened to both of them back to back, and yeah, I like it
I think
very much.
sometimes with a new album, you need to listen to it, let it get into you, and then give it a
Mm,
break, and then go back to it a few months later, and
yeah, definitely.
it'll play differently.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
which is why the need for websites to review albums as soon as they release is a bit,
Oh,
yeah.
especially Pitchfork.
Yeah, well, yeah. I've not for my other lists. I've not got honorable mentions, but there's 3 albums this year that I couldn't fit in my top 10, and just want to briefly mention them.
Okay.
One of them is the 1975's album Notes on a Conditional Form.
Yeah.
Obviously, I listed them as one of my top 5 favorite bands,
Mm.
and I do really like this album. It's just for me, it's not their strongest work, and
Mm.
as an album overall, it is got a lot of interesting choices that maybe don't make it the strongest album they've done, but I do love them. Second is Fontaine's DC, an amazing post-punk album
Mm.
from a brilliant band out of Ireland that's wonderful and everyone should listen to it. And the third one, it's not in my top 10 because it's too new for me to really make a final call on, but I've really been enjoying it for the past few days. Same day Taylor Swift puts out Evermore, Kid Cudi releases Man on the Moon
Ah, yeah.
3, The Chosen. Have you listened to this yet?
Yeah, I have.
What do you think of it?
Um, I've got. I mean, it's an okay album, but I kind of I found it very samey. I
Yeah.
was kind of like, and then Skepta came on. I was like, what? And I love the song with Skepta. And I was just like, I don't know, British hip hop. And I thought
Yeah.
that was a perfect song. And then I started listening to Skepta after that. Yeah, I don't know. It's good, but it didn't excite me. But I think I have to listen to it again because I've only listened to it once and then I got distracted by Skepta.
I've listened to it a few times now, and it's definitely every time I listen to it, I like it a little bit more, and I could see it
Okay.
becoming an album I really like. The song with
Mm.
Phoebe Bridgers is obviously amazing, um, and I just really like his general vibe of like sort of
Yeah.
humming, like a lot of humming going on, and like,
Mm.
and it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of once it gets into your head and you vibe with it, it becomes quite brilliant. I think, but too early to say really and make a final choice, but I think I just want to mention that I like it. It's a good album so far. What anything you want to add in? Anything you want to rank or say what your favorite was, Alex?
Yeah, I as a present, I don't have to do a list because it's a special.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is exciting.
Oh,
But I didn't make a
lovely.
list, but I didn't make a list 10 to 1, but I made a list of albums, and I've got Plastic Heart, which I said, and I would like to add 3:15:20 by Childish Gambino. I
Sure,
listened I
you can
listened
do
to it
that.
again this week, and I still love it. So it's a really, really good album and funky and good. I love Childish Gambino. Then an album by an artist called Muramasa, which
Mm.
sounds Japanese, but it's actually British, called RYC. A really, really good album that I listen to it, forget about it, and then it pops up again, listen to it, and I've been listening to it like throughout 2020, and it's really, really good. And it's yeah, I really enjoy it. I haven't talked about it. I don't know why in the podcast this year I haven't talked about it, but it's one of the albums I've listened to most this year.
Mm.
But I don't know. It's just a really good album. So it's RYC by Muramasa. An album that I talked about in the podcast called What Kind of Music by Tom Misch and Yusuf Days, which is kind of
Yeah.
like a funky session album. Really, really good. An album that you suggested to me, which is Live Forever by Barty Strange.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Okay. Wow.
I love that album. I
Yeah, it's
love
a
that
cool album.
It's such a good album. I love that album. So yeah, that one. Then an album that I talked about last week in the episode with Dan, Jade Bird by Jade Bird, this kind of
Mm.
new folk singer. But like you, I've got Haim, Taylor Swift, Folklore, RTJ4, Ultra Mono, Plastic Heart, Punisher. Yeah. So
Nice.
it's been a good year for music. I think
It
this year
has.
reignited my love for music because I had
Mm.
so much time off that I could just like listen to music and start enjoying the process of listening to an album again. So yeah,
Yeah, for
good
sure.
year for music. It's been a really,
It
really good
was.
year.
I was in the top 0.1% of Phoebe Bridgers listeners this year. Just putting that out there. Pretty
What does that
impressive stats. Well, it means that out of all the people that listen to Phoebe Bridgers, I was in the top 0.1% of amount of time spent listening because I'm pretty good.
Yeah, next to you there was
Pretty-
Rowan, our friend Rowan.
No, he was not. He told me I can't remember now, but he was anyway.
Did you compare stats? Who
He
listened to Phoebe
messaged
Bridgers more?
me. He commented on my post about it or something, and he's in like the top 2% or something.
Oh, okay. Cool, man.
Anyway,
Anywho.
shall we move on to my next list?
Yeah.
Songs of the year, top 10 songs.
Oh, wow.
We don't normally break
I
it
did
down by
not
songs, but I
do
thought it was
songs.
worth. So we won't spend too long on this one, but just very
Okay.
quickly. And most of these are off the albums I just mentioned, pretty much. But number 10 is "War" by Idols, the opening track on the Ultra
Yeah.
Mono.
Love
Pretty
that song.
incredible song, but just
Yeah.
takes you into the album immediately and smashes you over the head. Next, 96 Neve Campbell by Clipping,
Okay. Yeah.
which is the track on that Clipping album with, I think it's Cam and China are the two female rappers featured, rapping about being a final girl. Pretty incredible. Just by Run the Jewels, but the clever part is that instead of an S, it's a $sign because it's all about money, isn't it?
Is it the one?
So look at all the
How
slave
the
masters.
slave masters posing on your dollar. Look
Yeah.
at all the slave masters. Oh, and then Zach De La Rocha. Look at all the slave masters.
It's the absolute best.
Boom,
My
boom.
favourite thing about that song, my favourite part of that song is that they asked
Yeah.
Pharrell to write the hook. And you know, Pharrell wrote, if you're
Yeah.
feeling happy like a house built that guy.
That's
Like
not
your
how
hands
the
are
song
made
goes.
of houses. How does it go? I'm happy.
Because I'm happy, clap
happy
along
have-
if you feel like a room
house without a home. That guy.
Yeah.
And they asked him to write a hook for a song on that album.
Yeah.
And they thought he'd come back with, something pretty poppy and accessible or whatever. And he comes back with, look at all the slave masters posing on your dollar. And I just love that Pharrell came up with that and like understood where he was and what kind of people he was working with and stuff. And it's so great. And like having Zach De La Rocha come in on that song as well is just, it is the best.
I
then
just
The
love that
Steps.
song.
In at number 7 is The Steps, my favourite song on the Women in Music Part 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the
Yeah.
second track or so. pretty great. And then someone who didn't make my top albums because the album as a whole didn't really impact me too much, but this song is really good. Physical by Dua Lipa.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been wanting to talk to you about the album for a while.
What?
Have you listened to the album?
Nostalgia. What's it called? Future Nostalgia.
Yeah.
I've
you
listened
listened
to the
to it?
album a few times. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you? Is it me? Or like the album is pretty decent. It's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it
It's a good
starts
album.
with the worst song ever.
What? Future Nostalgia.
Yeah. I think does it start with is that the first song, Future Nostalgia?
I'm pretty sure it is. Future Nostalgia. Future Nostalgia.
Like I listened to the first song and I was like, this song is rubbish. And usually you start the album with like a pretty good song, and I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
album's gonna be pants. It's gonna be really bad. But then I really enjoyed the album, but just I can't listen to that song.
It is an odd. I didn't love it. I kind of like the song
Just-
actually, but I understand your point. I found it a bit irritating the first time I heard it,
I was
and
just
it's
like,
not the
why
best
is this
song on the
so
album. It's not the best
bad?
song to
No,
kick the album off with.
like it's, but in a way it's good because after that your expectations are pretty low. Not that you should have low expectations of Dua Lipa because she's very good, but I mean,
Yeah.
after that I really enjoy the album, but that song is just terrible. And I was-
Physical's my favorite track on it for sure. But, yeah.
physical. I just touch my mind.
Prisoner.
Oh, that's Prisoners.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyway.
I don't know the album that well. Yeah.
In at number 5, The Last Great American Dynasty, my favourite track off
Yeah.
of either Taylor Swift album this year. I adore that song.
Very good song.
It's such a great story about an American socialite, and then at the end she flips it, and it's about her. And oh my god, it's great.
Yeah.
She's great. It's great. And then your song of the year, "Blinding Lights," in at number 4 for me by The Weeknd.
Yeah. That's a great song.
Oh, I could listen to that song every day.
Yeah.
In at number
all
3,
the time.
is a song of Fetch the Bolt Cutters by Fiona Apple called Shamika.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to tell you a story about Shamika, and I'm confident that it's going to make you want to go and listen to this album. So,
Yeah.
let's go. Fiona Apple, when she was in like elementary school in America, right,
Yeah.
was a young girl at like this private school somewhere, and she was quite a specific individual, I think. She had like long hair down to her hips and things.
Yeah.
And she would get bullied by kids in school.
Mm.
And one time she tried to sit with these older girls in the canteen, and they bullied her and told her she couldn't sit with them. And as she was walking away upset, this older girl called Shamika stopped her and said, "Ignore them, you have potential." And then all through the rest of her life, that stuck with her, this stranger. And then she was never friends with Shamika after that. Like, she wasn't Shamika's friend. It was just this one moment of kindness she showed her.
Yeah.
And for the rest of Fiona Apple's life, when she's been struggling and finding things difficult, she's like reflected on the time that Shamika told her she had potential. And then the chorus to this song is, "Shamika says I have potential. Shamika said I have potential." And it's such a beautiful song about like those moments of. Why are you laughing?
I don't know. It just sounds fun, like a good song.
It is fun.
Yeah.
But it's also about those moments where you don't know what it is that you might say to somebody that is going to stick with them, especially if you work with children. You never know what it is that you're going to say to somebody that might stick with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And have an effect on them. It could be something that you will forget within minutes that they are going to remember forever. And I just think it's important. I just like the idea of remembering that those little moments of kindness that cost us nothing can have such a big effect on people.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I love the song because of that, and it's also a great song. Additionally, Alex, when the album came out, Fiona Apple did a bunch of interviews about it, and she was talking about Shamika and saying, "I don't even know if this person is real. Like, I don't even know if this is a real memory. I just have this memory of it, and it's stuck with me."
Yeah.
One of her teachers that taught her for like a term and had got in touch with her years earlier and reconnected with Fiona Apple because Fiona had mentioned her in an interview, saw this article and went, "Shamika is a real person. I remember Shamika." And she wrote a postcard to the real Shamika, posted it to her. Shamika didn't know Shamika didn't listen to Fiona Apple. She gets this postcard saying, "Fiona Apple's written a song about you." She goes and listens to this song about her, about an event that she probably barely remembers. and ends up reconnecting with Fiona Apple, proving she's a real person. And then she is an underground hip hop artist, and they have put out a song
No.
that Fiona Apple is on.
That's
Is
so
that not
cool.
the most? And like she was an underground hip hop artist for years, and now she's like a real estate agent. But
Yeah.
she's done this song now that Fiona Apple is on, and then they made a music video for Shamika that she kind of reads a poem in, I think. And I don't know, I just think it's a beautiful story. The story of the song is beautiful, and then what's happened since the song came out is also really just heartwarming and lovely and wonderful, and I love it.
That sounds amazing. Lovely.
It is amazing and lovely. So you should listen to that song and listen to the album. It's good.
I will.
My second favourite song of the year is My God by The Killers off the album that you aren't keen on. It's the one that features Ways Blood, which is it's just a brilliant song. It's got these drums that sound like thunder, and it just pumps me up. I once went for a walk and listened to it about 10 times in a row, and it was the happiest. And in at number one, and a song that every time I listen to it, I get genuine goosebumps. I can't get enough of this song. I absolutely love it. It is Chinese Satellite by Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah. Cool.
My
Good song
absolute favourite album of the
choices.
year. Thank you. Do
I
you have any
like them.
songs that you want to
No,
mention?
I mentioned Blinded by the Lights.
Blinding Lights. Blinded by the Lights is a song by The Streets. Is the only thing.
Oh goodness. What's the name? See, that's the thing. Like, there's no point in me even attempting this mission. What's it called?
Blinding Lights. I think I might even be wrong there, but I think it's called Blinding Lights. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Ultimately, it's fine. We can call things whatever you want. It's your life.
Yeah, I trust you. I think I
Blinding
can't
Lights.
really point out music songs because I have no memory. So
Totally fair. Okay. Moving to the next list.
yeah, definitely.
Now, again, due to circumstances, you might not have a full list for this, but you might. I don't know how much you'll be able to partake in discussing them, but I'll try and give you a little bit of a tagline for each one of the things on this list, and you can tell me whether you would want to watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
What's the
my
next?
top
What's
10 films of the list
yeah?
of the
Because
year.
I was looking at films of the year, how many I've watched, and I've watched 5, I think.
Right. Okay, that's cool.
5
we can
films
see
from
if
this
there's any
year.
that cross over. In at number 10 for me
Yeah.
is Bad Boys for Life. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence return for more fun action comedy hijinks, but also with a touch of exploring what happens when a bad boy becomes a bad man. What do you think, Alex?
Love it.
Would you watch it?
Probably not. Next.
In at number 9 is The Devil All the Time. Coen brothers, people getting up over their head, like in the Coen brothers movies, but with all the humour removed. But Tom Holland's there. What do you think?
Yes, I would probably watch it.
Well, it's on Netflix. You should watch it. It's good.
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 Yeah.
In at number 8, Folklore, the Long Pond studio sessions. Taylor Swift, Aaron Dessner, and Jack Antonoff play through every song on the album Folklore. It is, I know it's a concert album kind of thing, concert film, but it is stunningly beautiful, and I absolutely love it. Have you watched it yet?
No, I haven't.
Would you watch it?
100%, yeah.
Good, moving on. Number 7, The Invisible Man. Elizabeth Moss escapes an abusive relationship only to then be hunted or haunted by the invisible presence of her ex. You're shaking your head.
Not in a million years.
It is awesome. It is so good. The Invisible Man is...
But it's probably really scary, isn't it, if somebody's being haunted?
It's pretty jumpy and stuff, and it's pretty... Yeah, I mean, it's scary. It's scary. It's a well-made horror movie. It's pretty scary. But it's great. It's great. The way that they kind of have it as a metaphor for gaslighting is clever and powerful. It's good. Anyway, in at number 6,
is the word of 2020, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Let's try and avoid. Don't gaslight people. In at number 6, I'm thinking of ending things. Charlie Kaufman directing, Jesse Plemons, and I can't remember her name. Charlie Kaufman movie about a couple going on a road trip to meet the girlfriend's parents, and everything is not as it seems, and what is actually going on is unclear to everyone. It's a surreal piece of cinema.
Maybe I would watch it.
Maybe it's on Netflix, worth checking out. I'd say I liked it quite a bit. Number 5, Bill and Ted Face the Music. Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter are back to have another excellent adventure or bogus journey, whatever you want to, however you want to describe what they do together. They have 76 minutes to save the universe by writing the greatest song of all time, and the real highlights are their daughters, who are absolutely wonderful. Would you watch it?
Absolutely, yes. I've been trying to find Bill and Ted, the first Bill and Ted, but I'm finding that quite hard. But I will. I want to watch both of them, definitely. 100%.
Yeah, no, you should watch all of them. In at number 4, Possessor. Brandon Cronenberg, son of David Cronenberg, directed film about a woman who assassinates people by possessing the body of people close to them and then murdering them. You're shaking your head a lot. No?
No. I don't think I
No.
could handle it. I just
It's
never
pretty.
trust anybody else in my life.
It's quite an intense one. It's good though. Anyway, in at number 3, Tenet. Christopher Nolan, latest Christopher Nolan movie, big film. It's essentially him doing a James Bond film, but there's weird time stuff going on. Starring John David Washington off of Black Klansman.
Cool.
And Pats. Would you watch it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think you could potentially have a good time with Tenet. I think you'd enjoy Tenet.
Yeah, definitely. I love I love who? What's his name?
John David Washington, Christopher Nolan. Robert
Christopher
Pattinson.
Nolan. I love Christopher Nolan. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's great. In at number 2 is a movie that I really hope you say you will watch, because I want you to watch it. His House. His House. Film about 2 asylum seekers in the UK who are assigned a house that is they're struggling with a haunting.
Yeah, I will. I definitely.
I think you would find it a powerful watch.
It's
It's a really good film. It's important.
Yeah.
Watch it. Anyone listening, if you haven't watched His House, it's on Netflix. You've got a Netflix account. Don't lie. Don't tell me you haven't got a Netflix account. You have, and so go and watch His House. In at number 1, though, my favourite movie of the year, a movie that with each passing day since I saw it, I like it more, and I am more excited to watch it a second time than I was to watch it the first time I saw it. I adore everything it does and just love the crap out of it. Saint Maud. Saint Maud, the story of a carer in a northern seaside town, a private nurse who is devoted Christian, believes that she is on a mission to save people's souls and struggles with hearing voices from the devil and things. And it's a great movie. You're shaking your head again.
I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's great.
It is brilliant. It's an acquired taste, which is fair, but it's great. So that's my top 10 films of the year. My number 1 is Saint Maud. Certainly, cool. I absolutely adore it. Any that you would like to add?
Of the 5 movies from 2020 that I've watched, I would definitely recommend to watch The Five Bloods by directed by Spike Lee and with Chadwick Boseman. Really, really, really good film. And a Netflix film called I'm No Longer Here, which I talked about a few weeks ago, about this group of children, group of youths in Mexico who dance.
Yeah. That's it, is it?
Yeah,
no other movies?
Because Eurovision Song Contest, that was another film from this year.
Yeah.
Borat, really good film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know,
cool.
It's 4 films.
Fair enough. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. My next list is again one that you probably won't have anything to add to, but let's go. If you'll indulge me, I'd like to go through it.
I'll indulge you in anything.
Thank you.
New Year's Eve. This is a special. This is where we indulge each other.
Yes, absolutely. So, My top 10 games of the year.
Ooh.
Yeah, games, video games, video games. In at number 10, Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PlayStation 5. You've seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Alex. It's kind of like
Yes.
playing that as a game. It's pretty awesome.
I think I
Although,
would like that.
yeah, you can tell me if you play them. So you'd play Spider-Man Miles Morales.
I would play it, yeah, definitely.
Good. It's pretty cool. Number 9, I talked about it on the podcast, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Crash Bandicoot's back and he's spinning around and smashing crates and eating apples again. Would you play?
Absolutely. Crash Bandicoot.
Good.
I've played Splash Bandicoot in my youth.
Splash Bandicoot.
Splash Bandicoot, yes.
Good. In at number 8, it is a game that's very buggy, very glitchy, not the smoothest, the most polished game ever. It's not the one people might be thinking of. It is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, this year's Assassin's Creed game. I played a few big open world games this year. One of them was a game called Ghost of Tsushima, which is polished to a shining gem and is wonderful, but it's not in my top 10 because it doesn't grab me in the way that Assassin's Creed Valhalla did.
Okay.
If you listen to our top 5 video games episode last week where me and Dan talked about our love for The Witcher 3, with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ubisoft have quite cheekily essentially just made The Witcher 3 again, but this time you're a Viking. But in terms of the quest lines, like there's a wedding scene in this game that feels like it's been ripped straight out of a wedding scene that's in The Witcher 3. And to be frank, I am so fine with that because it's just more time spent doing cool things that I enjoy. And the game isn't as polished as some of our open world games, but the writing is awesome. The characters are really engaging and interesting, and exploring, medieval England as a Viking invader is a great time. So yeah, would you play that, Alex?
No. But I would watch somebody play it.
Okay.
Like in the past I've watched people play Assassin's Creed, and I think it's pretty cool to watch people play. It's
a lot of
game.
parkour.
Yeah,
it's
I like that. But I couldn't play it.
It's pretty fun to watch.
I think I tried to play the one where they're in the medieval. Is it medieval? One of them. I don't remember which one. And I kept falling down and dying, and it's just
that's fair.
Upsetting.
Okay, in at number 7 is a game that if you heard last week's episode, you'll have heard me talk about my love for. It is the free pack-in with the PlayStation 5 Astro's Playroom, which is essentially a tech demo to show off how cool the controller is. But the thing that made me fall in love with it was all of the little touches to past PlayStation eras and games, and the fact that it ultimately is a virtual PlayStation museum with so much charm that I just adored it, and it goes in at my number 7. Would you play that?
I don't even know how. I can't even imagine what it is. So probably not.
Yeah,
like you talked
enough.
about it last week when we talked about video games, and I could not imagine what you were talking about, and I can't imagine what you're talking about now. I'm just imagining a box and like lots of like shops where you go in and the shop. I don't know. I don't even know where to start.
You've got it spot on. That's exactly right.
Why?
No, it's nothing like that at all.
Okay. Okay.
Number 6. Number 6 is a pretty big game that some people might be, if anyone listens to us who's a gamer, if Dan's listening, might be shocked that this is low on my list in a way. But I don't know. I loved it, but in a way, it feels like the starter course to something bigger. It is the Final Fantasy VII remake. How much are you a Final Fantasy VII-er, Alex?
What?
I don't know. Final Fantasy VII is a pretty famous game. Came out in like the late 90s, I think. On the PlayStation 1, you played as Cloud with it. You had a big sword and spiky hair, and it's iconic. People love it. They've remade it, but because of various reasons, the remake that came out this year is only the first part of the original game's story, and further parts are to be released in the future to finish it off. So it's amazing. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever played, and the combat's really cool. It's a good game. It's set in a future where corporations are using the life force of the planet, the energy from the planet, they're calling it Mako, to power big industrial cities. And you play as someone who is hired by a terrorist organization who wants to kind of stop the Earth's life force being misused in this way. And Sephiroth turns up at one point.
Awesome.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah, definitely would watch somebody play it.
Yeah, that's fair. It's cool.
Yeah.
In at number 5 is the PlayStation 5 launch title, the remake of Demon's Souls. And again, if you heard us last week, it's similar to Dark Souls, but kind of came before it. So what's your take on that, Alex?
I would definitely not play that game.
Yeah, no,
I would
I think
break a wall on somebody.
I
Like,
think you
just
would be frustrated by it. Yeah.
yeah, it just doesn't seem. It just I can't. I don't know that you could just be doing really well, and then just die and have to do it again and again and again. How
Yeah.
frustrating is that?
It's pretty frustrating. I had some frustrating moments with it, but since we talked about it on the last episode, I have completed it and I love it. And it's one of the most visually impressive games I've ever played. It is gorgeous and it plays well, and yeah, it's just great. It's just a cool game. In at number 4 is a game that is currently in the centre of an extraordinary amount of controversy. People are furious about this game, and they have right to be furious about it.
It's amazing. I know what it is. I know it's not. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you don't know what it is.
Okay, I thought it was
I'd have been really impressed if you'd known what it was. It's a game that just came out. It's the newest game from the developer of The Witcher 3, which obviously, Alex, you're aware of The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
It is Cyberpunk 2077. An open world RPG, first person RPG, where you play as V, a character in this kind of, it's almost it's Blade Runner, essentially, like a future city Blade Runner type of thing, dystopian thing. It came out last week. All of the preview footage of it and review footage of it was from the PC version, which is a bit buggy but runs okay.
Yeah.
And it has turned out, because it's not actually technically, I've been playing it on the PlayStation 5, but it's not technically a PlayStation 5 game. It's a PlayStation 4 game that you can play on your PlayStation 5, but it's mainly meant to be played on a PlayStation 4. Unfortunately, the ambition of the game is such that it does not run on a PlayStation 4 very well at all, and the same is true on the Xbox side of things. Okay. So it is a buggy, glitchy, horrifying mess. If you have an original PlayStation 4, you should not currently be playing Cyberpunk, because it is almost unplayable. Like on PS5, it runs at 60 frames a second, and that's fine. And it has a few bugs and glitches, but it's playable. On PlayStation 4, it runs at like 25 frames a second, and apparently when you're driving, it's about 15 frames a second. And it takes 20 seconds for textures to load. It's an absolute nightmare mess, and it's so unfortunate, because I recognise I am in an extremely privileged position to be able to play it on a PlayStation 5, and it runs well for me, and the game itself is incredible. I was pretty nervous last week about it when I talked about it, because the pre-release marketing made it seem like it had a very immature tone. Like a 13-year-old boy had written it. But thankfully, similar to The Witcher 3, the actual game itself, the dialogue and the story in the actual game, are pretty well written, and it does have some of that immaturity and annoying and like quite characters swearing all over the place. But they're characters you would expect to behave like that, and it is full also of endearing characters who don't behave like that and who you can kind of fall in love with quite quickly. Not fall in love with, but like, like as characters. Like the main character V is great. The real reason, Alex, and minor plot spoilers for the beginning of Cyberpunk 2077 coming up. So if you don't want to know stuff that you could know from seeing the trailers, then skip ahead a bit. The real reason, Alex, that I adore this game is because your character V, quite early on in the story, because it's all about people cybernetically enhancing themselves and stuff, as part of a job she's doing, she has to put a chip, like a computer chip, in her head, yeah? And it turns out that computer chip, Alex, contains the psyche of a long-dead rock star / terrorist called Johnny Silverhand, who died after blowing up a building and doing his last concert and generally being a terrible rock star person thing, who then is in your head for the rest of the game, and the story of the game is you trying to work out how to get rid of him, because if you pull the chip out it'll kill you, and his psyche, his personality is slowly overtaking yours and overtaking your body, if you see what I mean. The spin, Alex, is this: Johnny Silverhand is played by Keanu Reeves.
So you basically put like a really bad game, glitchy and everything, on like really high just because Keanu Reeves is in it.
No, not just because of that, but like the fact that when you're doing
like I was
quests,
wondering, like why you would put this game so like high on your list. It's just Keanu. Keanu.
partly
Reeves?
Keanu, because I adore him, and like you'll be doing a little quest, and he'll just appear, like he can appear to you almost like a ghost that only you can see, and he'll just appear in the background and start talking to you, and his character is horrible, like a really unpleasant guy, but just having Keanu hanging out and giving you his opinions about things is so entertaining. But no, I know it's a buggy, glitchy mess, and if I was playing it on PS4, I wouldn't be happy. But the fact is, it's the kind of game I really love because you can approach the missions the way you want. So I can play it fully as a stealthy character. So a lot of the missions are go to this building, kill all the people inside it, and find something. But because of the way I'm playing it, I can sneak in through the ceiling and sneak up on people and knock them out and then get out without anyone. And it kind of gives you the freedom to do it the way you want to do it and approach tasks the way you want to approach them. Like a game called Deus Ex that people might have heard of. And when it works, it is brilliant. It's just unfortunate it doesn't work at the moment. They're giving refunds to people that don't want to play, that don't want to wait, and it's going to be patched and fixed and sorted and stuff. And it's a pity, but I've played about 15 hours of it, and I love it. So it's in at number 4 for me. But if you don't have a beefy PC that cost you $2,000 or a PlayStation 5, then wait and buy about June of next year. It'll be playable by people with PS4s and Xboxes. Anyway, my number 3 is a game that you will know, Alex, immediately. It is Hades.
Great.
Would you play Hades?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
Would you play Cyberpunk 2077?
I have no idea. You lost me at PS4. I'm not gonna lie. I did not understand anything from that from that number.
I'm sure that's true for most people listening to us. Dan will know. Dan gets it. Dan knows.
Yeah,
Dan always knows.
That bit was for you, Dan. We love you. Thank you.
Only Dan understands. Number 2 is Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Oh, I've always wanted to play Animal Crossing.
It's a beautiful thing. You live on an island and speak to your animal friends.
Aww.
I played it for, I'm not joking, 200 hours this year, and it got me through that first lockdown. Was being able to every day wake up and forget about what my life was like and live on an island with some animals for a couple of hours before I had to start facing the world. So Animal Crossing New Horizons got me through some tough times this year, and I adore it. And I haven't visited the island in a few months, and I imagine the animals are probably not doing too well without me. But Animal Crossing New Horizons, piece of genius. Then in at number 1, it's not going to, anyone who listened to our episode last week isn't going to be surprised by this because it's my second favourite game of all time. So of course it's my favourite game of this year. I was genuinely physically shivering last week when I was describing how much I like this game. It has left me broken when I played this game, and I love it to pieces. It is The Last of Us Part 2.
Yes.
Would you play it?
No. Not at
all.
all.
Would you watch somebody play it?
No. Too intense.
Too intense?
Too intense.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I would definitely play Animal Crossing, but I'll spend like my life on it, so better not.
Fair enough. I imagine you don't really have any games to add, but it's fine if you do. No, okay. So moving on.
Oh, absolutely. If anybody listened to last week's episode, I do not play games.
No, that's fair.
Only when I'm with you, I play, Mario Kart, and I play Mario Party, and that's it.
That's fair. Moving on, my final list now that I've prepared is TV.
Good.
It's not been a big TV year for me. Despite having all this time at home, it's not been a massive TV year. So I'll do this quickly.
Mm.
There's just a couple of things I want to highlight, particularly that I've been enjoying. So in at number 10 is The Haunting of Bly Manor, Netflix's latest horror show, sequel-ish thing to The Haunting of Hill House. Not as good
Mm.
as The Haunting of Hill House. I haven't finished it yet, but it's got some good moments in it. Particularly episode 5, I think, was amazing. Number 9,
Yeah.
Harley Quinn, the animated Harley Quinn series on DC, which I think might have
Cool.
premiered in 2019, but came to the UK in 2020. Have you watched any of that, Alex?
Nope.
It's worth checking out. It's pretty funny stuff. Number 8 was The Stranger, which hit Netflix earlier this year.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
No.
No. The Stranger was like one of those shows where it was about a man trying to find out why his wife had disappeared. And a mysterious stranger had appeared to his wife and to him and stuff. And every single episode ends with a ridiculous twist. It's one of those shows where it's like, in
Oh,
fact, this was
wow.
happening all along.
Okay.
And it was pretty entertaining, but pretty disposable. But it was all right. In at number 7 is one that I kind of want you to watch because I want to know what you think of it. It's a thing that popped up on Netflix, and I watched it out of curiosity, and I laughed despite myself quite a lot. Okay, so my number 7 is a show that appeared on Netflix, and it looked weird, and I didn't watch it, and then eventually my curiosity got the best of me, and I watched it, and I think that you should watch it because it's interesting, it's strange. It's a Netflix comedy from Australia called Auntie Donna's House of Fun.
Okay.
Have you seen it at all or heard of it?
I think I've seen it because it rings a bell, but yeah, I haven't watched it though.
Yeah, you've probably seen it pop up on Netflix. It's this, I think they're kind of famous YouTubers or musicians in some way in Australia, or at least to some degree. I'm not entirely sure, but it's very strange. And the first episode opens immediately with them singing this song called Everything's a Drum, where they're going, everything's a drum, everything's a drum. Did you know this pot is a drum? Da, 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 da. And it's so weird. And it, like, immediately I was like, this is silly, but it's making me laugh. And I don't know. I think people should check it out. It's a bizarre thing. These three guys, these three Australian guys. Check it out. Check it out. Anyway, number 6, Mythic Quest: Raven's Banquet, the Apple TV show about the video game developer, kind of created by It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia people, Rob McElhenney and Charlie Day. I've been watching that recently, and it's much better than I thought it would be. I expected it to be pretty poor, and it's actually really funny. So it's good. Number 5 is comfort food, my absolute comfort food.
Okay.
MasterChef / The Great British Menu. I watch it
Nice.
every year, and this year it was
Cool.
as good as ever. So check that
Yeah.
out. Number 4 was the latest season of Better Call Saul, which was
Yeah.
great. One
Incredible.
of the best seasons they've done. Kim Wexler in that season
Yes.
is
Oh, she's
incredible.
so good.
Can't wait to see what
Yeah.
happens next. Number
I put that
3,
down
the
as well.
second.
Better Call Saul.
Yeah. Number 3, the second season of What We Do in the Shadows, the vampire comedy. Have you watched
Okay.
any of that yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, you should check because you liked the film, right?
Yeah.
You should definitely watch the series. It's good. It's really good. Number 2, the final season or the final half, I think, of the final season of The Good Place aired this year.
Yeah.
And just wanna take a second to recognize one of the greatest American sitcoms that has ever been broadcast, and one of the smartest.
So good.
Yeah, it is
And
truly,
it
truly.
ended perfectly.
Yeah, the ending
Like
was
the
heartbreaking
ending was
and wonderful.
heartbreaking but perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love that. I just loved the end of the season, and I cried like a baby.
Yep. And in at number 1, a show that made me cry recently, the newest series of Taskmaster.
I've watched some
Where-
tasks from the new one.
Oh, did you?
There's the one where they're trying to they have to draw with 3 lines.
Oh, and she gets really angry. Daisy May Cooper
She gets
really
really
angry
angry,
'cause
and
he
I
doesn't
was
recognise her
crying.
hippo.
No.
Would you have known that was a
she's-
hippo?
No, not at all.
No.
Like they both drew really badly. They could have
Yeah.
made such
The
much
chicken
better
as well.
choices. The chicken didn't even look like a chicken.
No.
Yeah, I watched
Um,
that one. I thought that was a good task.
Watching Daisy May Cooper eat watermelon made me cry this year. made me
I
sob
need
with
to.
laughter. So yeah, that was my favorite Taskmaster. Any TV to add?
Yeah, well, I've got The Good Place, I put as in my list, and Better Call Saul. I thought this season was so incredible.
Mm.
Insecure,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
I spoke about it before. Loved it. Introduced me to so much music. I'm finally managed to finish the fourth season. And then a show that I just finished watching. I talked about it briefly, but with Michaela Cole, called "I May Destroy You."
Oh yes.
I finally managed to finish it because it's pretty intense, but amazing. It's so good. I definitely recommend watching it because it puts a lot of things into perspective and opens a lot of debates into things, which I think is really good. And I love Michaela Cole, and I think it's definitely a good program to watch.
Thank you. I'm gonna watch I Will Destroy You. And is it I Will or I May?
I May Destroy You.
Cool.
Yeah, because it's not. Yeah, you'll notice why it's called "I May Destroy You," but the
Right.
last episode of that, like one of the episodes, it really, and then I kind of stopped watching it a little bit because it really kind of got to me,
Yeah.
and but then by the end, and the last episode is really clever. I don't know, it's a really really good series, and I love Michaela Cole. Yes, so those are my shows from 2020.
Hmm. Strong
For the
stuff.
listeners, you can see how George likes lists,
I mean, that's
and
yeah.
Alex is,
I
and
have
I'm more
I have
like,
I have so many lists on my phone that aren't even for the podcast. Just lists of things for me
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I'm
And I'm the
I'm a
worst person at
strange guy.
lists. So
Oh, I
no,
love a
no,
list.
yeah, no.
Okay.
I know you like lists. I'm not very good at them. So
List.
now we're both doing our perfect show where
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go
I
list.
get to do a top 10 instead of just a top 5, and you get to just say things. Exactly what we want to do.
Yes.
Cool. Right. So that was our top 10 of the year for various things. We did films, albums, songs, games. Alex
Oh,
joined in.
can I talk about two more things?
Go on.
Well, three Netflix documentaries which I think are interesting to watch
Okay.
and were interesting to watch in 2020.
Go on.
One of them is Miss Americana, a documentary about Taylor Swift.
Oh, I want to
I
watch
think
that a lot now.
the really good documentary about Taylor Swift. One of them is Athlete A, which is about sexual abuse in the Team USA gymnastics team,
Mm-hmm.
and how gymnastics, and it's not just about the abuse, but is about how gymnastics has changed throughout the years, and America kind of adopted the Russian way of doing gymnastics, which is basically torturing girls, and how this way kind of led to girls being vulnerable and being open to open, but being more vulnerable to sexual abuse from their doctor.
Mm.
I thought it was really, really good. And the fact that if people were so powerful in Team USA that the girls that came forward weren't allowed to do gymnastics, and is a really, really good documentary.
But now they've
Yeah,
been cool. No, that sounds
yeah.
yeah.
And a documentary about Bob Marley, which is called "Who Shot the Sheriff," and is about how Bob Marley, how politically unstable was Jamaica at the time that Bob Marley was really popular, and Bob Marley kind of had to leave because he couldn't handle um, the the way the Jamaicans were treated and were treating him. And
Mm.
I just a really a part of history that I didn't know, and I thought it was
Interesting.
really interesting. And again, if I can mention that, I know our podcast is amazing, but I would definitely listen to Have You Heard George's podcast?
Good. Thank you.
We have to mention the podcast because I think it's good to listen to many things.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Buffering the Vampire Slayer is a good podcast.
Buffering. Is there a podcast called Buffering the Vampire Slayer?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Oh my god. Good.
It's a great podcast. They go through every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and call out. Actually, quite often call out misogyny and stuff when they see it, and smashing the patriarchy and things like that. And it's pretty.
Nice.
It's a pretty good take on Buffy, and I enjoy it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's time for our next feature. Are you ready? Good. Surprise feature. Surprise feature. Surprise feature. Surprise feature. Alex doesn't know about this feature, but it's here and it's now and it's happening. Are you ready?
What's that surprise feature?
Surprise feature. Some of our lovely listeners have sent in some top fives of their own.
Thank you, listeners.
Yeah, thank you, listeners. Fun to share. Please continue sending in top 5 lists. We'll start with Carl has sent in a list.
Hi, Carl.
Hi, Carl. He's done his top 5 albums for us.
Ooh.
Yeah, and some people have written a little description of each one, and some people haven't. That's absolutely fine either way. In at number 5 for him is The Powers That Be by Death Grips, and he has written a double album of a man shouting over Bjork samples. Is his description for that. And I've heard that album, and it's pretty accurate. It's also an excellent album, so good choice.
Great.
Number 4, The White Stripes, White Blood Cells, which he says is his most listened to album ever. Because I do know this man, and he does like the White Stripes quite a bit.
Yeah.
In at number 3, David Bowie, Station to Station, and he's written the best coked out fascist crooner album ever, and not far off a description for that period of Bowie's career, certainly. And an incredible album, my favourite Bowie album, so strong choice there, well done. Number 2 is Titus Andronicus, The Most Lamentable Tragedy, and he's written man shouting over guitars in double album opera format. And I was once dragged by Carl to see Titus Andronicus live, and it was a bad time, and that's all I'm going to say.
And that's his number 2.
Yeah. Oh, he loves them. And he's welcome to love them. But
Okay.
do you know what? When you turn up wasted to your own concert, it's not going to go well. All right. Number 1, he's got Spoon, Ga 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 Ga. Awesome, boring indie robot rock, which I think is a bit of a comment towards me because that's kind of how I describe Spoon. But Spoon are cool. Spoon are like a cool Texas-based rock band from America. They do make good songs. They do solid, good rock and roll. And Ga 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 is a great album, to be fair.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's his list. Next, we've got a list from Eliza and Rachel. They've done a joint list for us.
Oh.
Their top 5 British TV shows is what they're hitting us with here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. No commentary here, just boom, 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 boom. So let's go. We've got number 5, Killing Eve. Number 4.
Oh, that is a good TV show. Have you watched it?
Yeah, it is. Yes, I've watched the first season. It is wonderful. Number 4, Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Wonderful choice. Number 3, I've not watched this, but Years and Years.
I haven't watched that either.
No, everyone tells me it's brilliant though, so I'm gonna trust their judgment. Number 2, His Dark Materials, based on the Philip Pullman books. I've got mixed feelings on that show, but that's cool, that's fine. And number 1, The Witcher, the TV series,
The Witcher.
based on the Witcher games that I really love, but I've not actually watched all of this show yet, so I can't pass too much judgment. But Henry Cavill plays the titular Witcher, and he's pretty awesome. So good stuff. They've got 3 honorable. Sorry.
Apparently, he's really buff, isn't he? In it.
He's pretty buff all the time, isn't he? Henry Cavill is generally a buff man. I mean, that fight scene in the toilet in Mission Impossible is, I like it. Anyway, honourable mentions for them: Ghosts, Horrible Histories, and The Vicar of Dibley. Strong honourable mentions there. Then, my dad has sent in his top 5 albums.
Hi, George's dad.
Yeah, so get ready for some classics. There doesn't seem to be any particular order to this, but he's got Bob Dylan, Highway 61 Revisited, Led Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin 4, Van Morrison, Tupelo Honey, Genesis, Foxtrot, and Neil Young, After the Gold Rush. And to be fair to him, with the exception of Genesis, those are 4 pretty excellent albums. So
Yeah,
good,
definitely.
fair play. Then, in addition, my mum has sent in her 5 favourite albums.
Oh, thank you,
Oh.
George's mom.
Yeah. All Things Must Pass by George Harrison.
Mhm.
Songs from a Room by Leonard Cohen. Tapestry by Carole King.
Okay.
Also After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. And Moondance by Van Morrison. And again, 5 pretty great albums there. So good,
Yeah.
good taste.
Tapestry by Carole King is an incredible album.
Oh yeah, I once
Forgot
drove
about
my mum
that.
to IKEA and made her listen to The College Dropout by Kanye West, and she complained for the entire journey that we weren't listening to Tapestry.
Oh.
But never mind. I put it on the way back. Anyway, Martin has sent us a list, Alex.
Nice one, Martin.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. He's named his list.
Thank you.
Top 5 bands George is justified in not liking, but I like them anyway.
This is such a this is such a Martin list.
It really is.
He couldn't just follow the flow. He had to make his own category.
He's given me an honourable mention. Now, again, I haven't even heard of some of these, so I don't know what way he gets off saying that I don't like them. He sent me a 20-minute long voice memo the other night at 4 a.m. where he told me that I listen to bad music and that Idols are not as good as Bombay Bicycle Club, so he can have his list read out on our podcast. His honourable mention is Lemon Demon. And at number 5, Los Campesinos. Number 4, Say Anything. Number 3, The New Pornographers. Number 2, Art Brut. And number 1, Regina Spektor.
Okay. I don't know any of them, but thank you, Martin, for your list of people that George doesn't like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't dislike. I mean, maybe I don't like. I don't like Los Campesinos. Sorry, but the rest of them are fine. I like Regina Spektor. Anyway, never mind. Dan has sent us a list. Dan, who we remember from our video game episode last week, has sent us in a list.
Oh, thank you, Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. He's given us his top. Well, some of these people sent in multiple lists, and I kind of picked one because we don't have all the time in the world. So Dan has sent me his top 5 film soundtracks, which I thought was worth reading out. He's gone with number 5, Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
very good
Hans
soundtrack.
Zimmer. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Number 4, Jurassic Park, John Williams.
Yeah, of course.
Number 3, Star Wars, also John Williams.
Nice.
Number 2, The Lion King.
Oh, that's a good soundtrack.
It is a good soundtrack, and stay tuned if you want to hear discussions of musicals on this podcast, just saying. And number 1, and to be fair to him, fair play, Dan, good choice for number 1, Lord of the Rings.
Wow, he likes really spectacular
really
music
does.
scores, doesn't he? He likes like the big da 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 da. Yeah, he likes the score. Wow, thank you, Dan.
He likes the big orchestral smash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Rowan has sent us a list, Alex.
What? That's amazing.
Yes, he sent us his top 5 American TV shows.
Oh.
And he's written a little blurb to go with each one. So I'll read these out. He's gone with The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Beatles. If you don't like The Simpsons, then you're either lying or not to be trusted. Somehow legitimately amazing for both kids and adults, smart and hilarious, and sometimes really lovely and sentimental. Also, there are some parts of it that have been burned into my brain so much so that when I get old and senile, I think all that will be left will be me repeating, Lisa needs braces, dental plan, Lisa needs braces, dental plan, until the sweet release of death.
Ah, Rowan, you're so poetic.
He
Beautiful.
is. Then The Wire. He hasn't ordered this list, I don't think, so it's just 5 in no order. The Wire. Yes, I'm very cool, so obviously The Wire is in my top 5. Everything that can be said about it has been said, and it deserves all the hype and adoration. Some of the most devastating TV ever, some of the greatest performances and characters ever created. Senator Clay Davis, anyone? Also, the first thing I ever saw Idris Elba in, and it blew my mind when I watched an interview with him and he had a London accent. It's one of the few things where it doesn't pander to the audience at all, just gets on with telling its story and makes you work a bit, but then you're invested and it pays off big time. Next, Sons of Anarchy. Possibly the most
Yes,
entertaining show of
cool.
all time. Really violent, but really heartfelt. Totally over the top, but full of detail. Recommended to me by my parents, who absolutely loved it. So I put off watching it for ages, thinking it would be lame. But it's great. Charlie Hunnam is possibly the sexiest man alive in this. Also, the soundtrack is great. The theme song is incredible. It once came on at kicking out time at a grotty rock night in Brighton, and Rosa and I lost our minds.
Oh my god.
Have you ever watched
That's
Sons
beautiful.
of Anarchy?
No, or The
No.
Wire. Like
No.
The Wire, I tried to watch an episode, but it's just so difficult for me to understand, and I don't think there were subtitles. I don't know, but I just did not understand.
That
a
old
word.
chestnut again.
Shut up. Her Smell was not a good film. The Wire probably is
Next,
good.
True Detective. I actually didn't finish Series 2 and haven't seen Series 3, but the first series is enough to justify its inclusion in the top 5. My personal revelation in the McConaissance era, joined by Woody Harrelson, who never disappoints. The performances are perfect. There is a scene in episode 4 that is just a single 6-minute tracking shot, and it's one of the most amazing things I've experienced on the big or small screen. I remember when it
Wow.
finished, and I realised I'd been holding my breath for what felt like the whole duration. When the episode finished, I watched it again straight away. So bloody good.
Oh
Agreed,
my goodness.
Rowan. Hmm?
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's good.
Last on his list, Mad Men. Obviously, the sense of time and place is so dead on. It's dramatic, moving, funny, beautiful, thoughtful, and smart. It's not like there are many traditional huge plot events or cliffhangers. For the most part, it's just Mad Men being Mad Men, just cruising along, cool as you like. But it's so watchable, great characters and performances that really immerse you in that setting. Like the best stories, you're left with the sense that somehow you were there, thinking back on places from the show as if you'd once been there, or remembering characters as old friends. There we go. Next up.
Wow. I was not expecting Mad Men.
No, I've never seen Mad Men, but
Never.
it's always
But
been on my
Elizabeth
list.
Moss is in it, so you
Yeah,
love
well,
it.
exactly. So one day I will watch it mainly for her. Next, we've just got a couple more now. Emma has sent
Thank
me
you,
her.
Rowan.
Thank you so much, Rowan. Emma has sent in her top 10 actors. She's got
Ooh.
Julianne Moore in at number 10.
10? Ah, yeah, because we did 10.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
What? You started on 10 for top 10 actors. Number 9. Number 9, Robin Williams.
Yeah, what? We didn't put him in. Go.
No, well, no.
Oh.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Number 8, Emma Stone, who I think was on your list.
Awesome. Yeah. she was.
Number 7, Denzel Washington. Who is
Denzel. Ooh,
yeah, legend.
Denzel.
Number 6, Paul Rudd.
Yeah, good choice.
Number 5, Julia Roberts.
Good.
Number 4, Hugh Grant.
Nice.
Number 3, Ewan McGregor.
Okay.
Number 2, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, of course.
And then number 1, my big loss, Anna Kendrick,
Ah.
who I forgot to put on my list, and Emma's got
Yeah.
him in number 1, rightfully so. Then Sarah, all the way from Sheffield, has sent us her top 5 bands.
Nice.
Yep, and it's a pretty good list, let me tell you in advance.
Okay.
Number 5, Green Day.
Yeah.
Number 4,
Wow.
Chvrches.
Chvrches.
Yeah. Number 3, the 1975.
Good choice.
Yeah. Number 2, Milburn.
Don't know them.
They're an indie band that are Sarah likes them a lot for sure. They
Okay.
are good. And number 1, Arctic Monkeys.
Ooh.
Yes, please.
Good choices. Wow.
Um,
Loving the lists.
Then our final list comes from Mark, and it is a little bit different from the other lists, so I thought it was worth putting at the end.
Yeah.
Mark has written, "Hi there, George and Alex. Long-time listener, first-time writer. I was inspired to write a top 5 for your end-of-year episode. Instead of picking one topic, I thought I'd list the top 5 things I found through your podcast."
No.
So
Oh
Mark,
my god, I'm gonna cry. No,
Mark
wait a
is-
second. I'm tearing up. No. I don't. Oh, I'm tearing up. This is too much. Just a second. I need a moment. Oh, why?
you've not even heard the list yet, Alex.
Breathe
Okay,
in, George.
so he's given us the top 5 things that he has discovered through our podcast, which I think is a lovely
Okay.
list, and I'm excited to read it.
Yeah.
In
I'm
at number
already crying.
5, he's got Phoebe
Yeah.
Bridgers.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't know Phoebe Bridgers before us?
No,
You're welcome, Mark.
He's given a little blurb for each one, like
Oh.
yeah. So, as a recovering Ryan Adams fan, I was looking for something to fill the hole in my Spotify playlists since his cancellation. The rave reviews she got on your podcast piqued my interest, and the fact that she wrote a song about Ryan Adams and their toxic relationship seemed like a cathartic choice. I was already hooked after my first few lessons, but when I read the lyrics of Funeral, I knew she was something truly special. Thank you both for recommending her.
Oh, goodness gracious. Mark, you're destroying me.
In at number 4 is Watchmen.
Ah!
Yeah. I wasn't sure
Great.
about this one at first, and it took me a few episodes to get into. At one point, I only persevered thanks to the seal of approval it got from your podcast. Once I stopped trying to understand it and just strapped myself in for the ride, I realised how brilliant it was. It's a gorgeous, violent, weird, and addictive series that I never would have seen without you recommending it.
Oh,
Yep.
thank you, Mark.
Number 3 is, and you're going to like this one, Alex,
Oh.
The Royal Tenenbaums. I think this was only an offhand mention in one of your many discussions about Wes Anderson. I thought I'd seen all his films, yet somehow this one passed me by. It has quickly become one of my favourite Wes movies, despite Luke Wilson's character managing to feature in a COVID-induced nightmare of mine. Sorry, Mark, I hope that you're okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you like The Royal
Really.
Tenenbaums. In at number 2, he's written Woking Mums, but I think he means Working Mums. I would never have heard of this programme had it not been your podcast, and it is hands down the best TV series I've watched this year. Its great cast, multi-layered characters and brutally honest writing always manages to get laughs, even when it tackles topics too dark for standard family sitcoms. I just love it. And then brackets. Also, George is right, Ian looks exactly like Chris Pratt.
He does. Oh.
And then, are you ready for number 1?
No, I am. Can you see my eyes?
Well, I feel self-conscious even reading this one out, but
I'm so emotional.
go with it.
So no, I didn't think I would be emotional. Oh, goodness.
Number 1, his top number 1 thing he's discovered through our podcast is the Culture Bucket podcast.
Oh.
He's written, to go meta, my number 1 pick is your podcast. It's my go-to comfort listen and my culture cheat sheet. I used to be paralysed by choice when asked what I wanted to watch or listen to, but thanks to you two, I can always recommend things on good authority. I have also, more times than I'd like to admit, pretended to have watched things when in reality I've only ever heard you discuss them. To me, it's more than just a weekly roundup of things I should know. The reason your podcast is such a joy to listen to is, as your theme tune says, 2 friends just made a podcast, and this really comes through. In a year when we've been more isolated than ever, hearing you two talk about things you love feels like I'm in a conversation with you both. I love it all. From the will he won't he episodes on whether George will watch the Eurovision film, to the conversation about how a light-hearted entertainment programme on Dave is a contributor to climate change. This podcast is such a gem. I can't wait to see what you have for us all in 2021. Thank you very much, Mark. Those were very kind words.
Thank
written,
you so much, Mark. You made me cry.
Yeah, written by Mark, not paid in any way by us
No.
for that. So,
Yeah, thank you
thank you so
very
much.
much. Those are really nice words, and I'm happy that you are enjoying it, and thank you for everybody's contributions. Though it was really
Yeah.
nice to read.
All of those lists were lovely
your
to
top
read and
fives.
hear, and thank you for sharing them. And please send in more. We'd love to do more kind
Yeah.
of interactions with listeners. So, thank you so much for joining us for this celebration of 2020. It has been emotional and lovely and wonderful, and we're so happy that people are listening to us, and we hope that more people listen to us in the future, and that you continue listening to us. And it's a joy to do this, and to hear feedback like that is lovely. So thank you to everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And
We're
it's been a good year with you, George. You know, even
thank
during a
you.
pandemic and lockdown, I've managed to spend a lot of time with my best friend.
Yes, please. Thank you. Same here. Best friends forever. Okay. Now comes the sad news, the tragic news. We're taking a short break, a tiny little break. Just a cheeky little tiny break. We'll be back with you in late January and I'm excited about this one. We've already recorded it. It's a banger. Top five Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. is what we're going to kick off 2021 with.
Yes.
Something fun that we can all just enjoy, unless you're the kind of person who's all sniffy about Marvel movies. But, you know, hopefully through this podcast, I don't know, my philosophy is just relax. Just relax. Just chill out. Come
Just
on.
relax.
It's
Yes.
fine.
Yeah.
Let people like things. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. That's 2020. We've put a bow on it. We've put a sticker on the top of it, and we've shipped it off to Ireland. So let's move on with our lives. I'm sick of it now. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm tired of it.
Okay.
It's rubbish.
Okay.
2020.
Great.
Stupid year. Okay. Keep your eyes peeled on our socials. Don't delete us from your podcast feed. We'll be back again to keep on, being a culture cheat sheet. I like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Speak to you soon. Love you so much.
Bye.